Special call Finance Committee meeting and budget hearing for September 22nd, 2025. Counselor Smith.
Here.
Waltney's out, Allman's out, Brandt.
Here.
And Harden.
Here.
All right, we have 3, so that is a quorum, and our only item is 030925, request for consideration of the 25-26 budget presentation from our city manager. And tonight we are hearing from Bo with our city clerk admin budget. We're hearing from Lester with our finance budget and Mr. Adams with our city manager budget. We are going to start with Mr. Segrist, who has already set the clock that he is going to do it quickly. So
Yes.
we are ready.
Yes, try to be as brief as possible. Good evening, everyone. First off, for the city clerk's office, we'll start with personnel. We're perfect. We don't need any more help. We're doing great. Don't feel the need. We have more than enough to get the job done. Just to give you some highlights of kind of where we are and what you guys have done this past year. And so I came to you some months ago and asked you to remove the accounting assistant position out of my office and turn it into a revenue position. Because of your trust in me, by doing that, we brought along Miss Ava Middlebrooks and Miss Julie Hambley. Miss Hambley is our senior revenue examiner. Miss Middlebrooks is our revenue examiner. Since Miss Middlebrooks has arrived here, she has made a great impact working with Miss Hambley. They are a dynamic duo. And they have, as of right now, we set a business license budget of over $8 million, largest business license budget that we've had. As it stands, we have collected $8,727,929.64, which, save your applause, which we are currently $630,000 over budget. I had challenged my team at the beginning of the year to an extra 250 would be great. That'd be monumental. And not only did they meet that, they exceeded it. They shattered it. And so I credit all that to Miss Hambley and Miss Middlebrooks, their tenacity to go after lost revenue and to find new revenue that is not on the books and to go after delinquent accounts. And so as it stands, where we are right now is they are at 1.3 million in lost revenue and delinquent accounts. And so that's a decision that you guys made. This administration made that decision. And because of that, this is your return on investment. By trusting me and empowering these young ladies to go out, this is what we've got from this administration. So going out, that's something definitely that you all can be proud of. And I'm honored that you allowed me to be a part of it. So personnel-wise, I don't really have but one ask. I would ask that there's another young lady in my office, Miss Amy Camper, who next to Melanie is our longest tenured administration employee, especially with a lot of the folks that are leaving. And so I would ask that the council approve a 10% premium for Ms. Camper to operate as the assistant city clerk. She does so much for this city behind the scenes that a lot of you don't know about. The way things look on Monday nights, it's not because of me, it's because of her and the hard work that she puts in. She's been extremely instrumental in my development as a city clerk. I could not do this without her. So I would ask that she don that title of Assistant City Clerk as well as the current title that she's under as the Municipal Records Supervisor.
And I will say, I'm just going to jump in, Bo, and I'm going to slow your presentation down so that you don't set any records. Amy is one of the most quietly hardworking people in this whole building. I mean, we have a lot of really hardworking, wonderful people who work here, don't get me wrong. But Amy does everything with a smile on her face. She takes whatever's thrown at her. She honestly, if I were speaking freely, I'd say that she's been doing this job for a lot longer than just since Bo has been city clerk, and definitely has earned and deserves that premium that Bo is asking for. So I'm 100% supportive of it. I adore Amy. I think she's great, and we definitely want to keep talent like that right here where we are. So continue.
Well, thank you. That's all.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Absolutely.
When you say a premium, are you just saying that you increase her base pay by this amount, and it's because of her additional title? And okay.
It's like, for instance, we give premiums to different people for different reasons. Like for when we were building the public safety center, there was a police officer who received a premium because he was like managing the construction process. So there's lots of different reasons to get a premium, but this would be directly tied to the fact that she would now be titled as the assistant city clerk. So like when Melody was here, you know, Robert was the finance director, Melody was the city clerk, and they were each other's assistants of the things. So in this case, Amy is the assistant city clerk, which, like I said, I think she was essentially doing that job anyway. But this is that for recognizing her for that additional time.
Okay, and it would go forward. It's not just a one-time thing, or is
No,
it?
this is not.
It-
Sometimes
it's
they are.
base.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking, what's what is that, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000? What's just shoot from the hip, I mean,
I think and Melanie, you might can help me with this, would it be, if you did a 10% premium, is it 10,000? Okay, well,
well.
Yeah, because you'd have to.
yeah, and it does depend on the basic.
Right.
But I'll be happy to get all those numbers together. But administratively, that's, personnel-wise, that's my only ask is, and like I said, I appreciate any consideration that you give. Brian, if you'll go to the next slide. Not a whole lot of ask here. Basically, I'm kind of keeping everything the same. I'm going up in a couple of areas that I can explain about. A lot of things determined with the change in government. I don't know what all this really looks like going forward. I don't know how much or how little we're going to have to do, and so I think there's adequate amount of money to sustain what we want to do in the city clerk's office. I do know that there was some money allocated to look at some software to help with the budget. I mean, not budget, but the agendas and getting information out to you guys. I have done some checking around and reached out to other municipalities about how they feel about some of this software, and it's been a mixed bag. It's been, they feel like they underutilize it and they pay an extreme premium for it, but they underutilize it. So I have met with Amy, and so we are going to try with the new council is build something from the ground up. And if we can avoid spending extra money on something that we're not utilizing, I look at it like an iPhone. I have an iPhone, but I don't really utilize it to its fullest potential. And so I don't want to spend the city's money on something that we're really not using to its fullest potential. And so, I'm leaving a lot of things kind of the same. The things I'm going up in is supplies. I'm asking for a little bit extra in supplies. We're going to be needing some chairs. Just chairs. They tend to wear out pretty quickly. As far as like I'm going up a little bit on postage, just because postage is going up. We still have to mail out business licenses. We have to do renewals. Sometimes we have to do 2 rounds of renewals depending on how many delinquents we have. And sometimes we have to do certifieds, especially if people reach, if their delinquency reaches a certain amount of time, in order to bring them in, we have to send certified. All of that stuff is expensive. It costs money. And so I did go up a little bit for that. Memberships and subscriptions, that's revenue officers. I want them to be involved in anything to get educational, to be a part of the AMRO, the teams and all that. Same thing with the League of Municipalities. We have to pay dues for that. Next year, I'll be the president of the Jefferson County City Clerks Association, so I have to pay for that, and I have to go to more conferences now because I'll be the president. So Berkeley, that's for you, buddy. I tell you what, Berkeley, I'll take you with me since you don't ever get to go on any. Hey, these city clerks, man, they're a lot of fun. So I did ask for a little bit extra money in travel and conference just for that, just because being the president, I probably will have to go to a couple of more conferences. Tuitions in schools, I asked for a little bit extra in that. I have a young lady in my office that is going to school, and she's worth the investment. And I have big plans for her, and I think that she will be with us a really long time. And so as long as she wants to go to school, I want to help her achieve her dreams. So ask for a little extra in municipal code codification just because I just tried to factor in, how much more we're going to do as far as, ordinances, resolutions. I added a little bit extra there. But any questions for me?
I think you're totally-
Congratulations on being named the next president of the Jefferson County City Clerks Association. That's great.
Thank you.
Especially,
1 year.
2
Yeah.
years into the role, and congratulations on, in the next fiscal year, hopefully not having to do an election, because you're 2 for 2 so far, so hopefully next
Well,
year.
hold on, man. I still got tomorrow.
I know, I said next,
He said next time.
Oh, okay. I'm
Next time.
sorry.
Yeah, he knows.
fiscal year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you'll have done the public referendum, the general, and then the runoff. So it'll be nice for you to know what it's like to be a city clerk without having an election.
It will, most definitely.
Is that it?
Walter.
Question.
Yes.
Can you remind me on tuition in schools, is that something? we're
Can you bring that back up, Brian?
Centralized?
We're keeping that
Or we're keeping that
decentralized
by
right now.
law?
We're gonna have to change the handbook that I'm the approver instead of the mayor, but, other than that, we're keeping that decentralized, because they're focused on their individuals and
Okay.
training, and that's why we kept it down.
Perfect. I
It's
just
just-
remember if that was something.
just
Yeah,
like
no,
the
that's one of
travel
those things they
conferences.
decided to leave, yeah.
We kept those in those same locations, because that way I could see whether or not they're increasing them, because I asked them to improve the mentor training develop concept.
Okay.
And I could see it individually whether or not they're spending the money where I've asked them to spend it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Bo?
No, but great job, Bo. Great job. Very proud of the work you're doing.
Yes, and please tell your staff that we are very thankful for them as well.
Thank you.
All right, now you
Appreciate
can come back and sit down and
Do
listen to other
minutes.
people.
Yeah, do minutes.
Just what you wanted to do.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that, and if you are ready, Mr. Smith, we can get going on finance budget.
I'll go ahead and hit the next slide. So what I wanted to do here is I'll start off the same way Bo did with personnel. This is the org chart as we went into this year. And one thing I need everybody to understand, if you look, when we started off the year, these were the only 3 positions we had, right? And you know everything that was going on at that time. At that time, the city of Homewood was behind in 2 audits, 2 single audits. State examiners were in here, FBI was in here, we had 2 audit firms, right? And that's what was supporting all of that work, 3 positions. There were 2 budgeted positions here for accounting assistants, right? During the year, we closed out 2 audits, we closed out 2 single audits, we've gotten the Department of Examiners back to Montgomery, right? As well as the team has taken on 2 projects, 2 large projects. One of those being the financial institution transfer, and one of those being the payroll provider, right? As a result of those 2 projects, what we've been able to do is we've been able to eliminate one of these accounting assistant positions. I think that from what we've done with Paycom, we've eliminated roughly about 5 days out of your work week, out of Melanie's work week, relative to what I would call antiquated systems of having to track information via Excel spreadsheets. The other thing that we've been able to do is we've been able to eliminate about 2 days out of AP from automation of the AP processing, checks, paper, And then in the other area has been in the area of payroll. We've been able to eliminate time, especially as it relates to reporting and reporting to third-party providers for benefits. The other thing that we've also been able to do is eliminate risk. Everybody's aware that we have had risk in the past relative to the payroll system. Those have been taken care of. We can't attest to anything in the past, right? We still have ghosts popping up occasionally, but hopefully we've got a lot of that behind us. Next slide. So one of the things that has helped tremendously is this is kind of what Glenn had asked for a projected end state. So you still see the 3 positions here we had. We ended up filling one of the accounting assistant positions, and then we've also filled the chief accountant position. And Nick, I'm not trying to send you a message. That is a typo there, okay? So these 2 positions have been added. In this year's budget, we have a procurement officer that, of course, Glenn can speak to if there's any questions. And I think in the future, one of the things the city's going to want to add is they're going to want to add a budget analyst. This is going to allow oversight as to assisting departments understand where they are against spend to budget, okay, especially also on the project side. Next slide. This should be easy. Okay, it's a very small budget. If you look here, the budget for 24-25, pardon me, was right at $1.1 million, right? We transferred cost of about, $20,000, not a lot. Training, what that consisted of, we had a course in the budget for HR, right? That's gonna transition over to the HR department. We've got IT cost with copiers and stuff, and then we have vehicle maintenance, right? All that, of course, has gone to Blake. When we look at budget decreases, I've already alluded to that. We were able to eliminate that 1 accounting assistant position. And the majority of your increase here of $520,000 is going to be within the area of your chief accountant that was added, your procurement officer that was added, and then we've got a little bit in professional services. What we have included in professional services is there's some money in there in this next budget for support from the external accountants, as well as there is some additional money in there to cover any costs that may arise from the year-end audit, okay? And that's about all we have.
Can
Yes,
we
ma'am.
skip back to the procurement officer, because we didn't talk about that, but that is
Yes, ma'am.
definitely that is a
That's in
position
mine.
that we're planning on.
That's in mine.
Okay, that's going to you, okay. All
Oh,
right.
so you moved that money out, we need to transfer that?
No, you're good, don't worry.
I'm good, okay, awesome.
Okay, all right,
Kimmy did it.
okay, perfect, all right, there we go, answered.
That's all I have.
Oh, wow, you may have beat
Did you stand up there, Lester, for another hour for us?
You might have beaten Randy Hamley on that one.
But the only thing I'll add, if it's, the team's done a lot of stress. They've really overcome a lot. It hasn't been easy, and it's still not easy, I would say. But they're still hanging in there.
Yeah, but and I will say also too, because I said this about Bo staff, I say the same thing about, I mean, I know how difficult it has been, and I know that y'all have been working extremely hard, and we do, everybody at this table I know appreciates how much y'all do and how hard it is. So thank y'all very much for that.
Absolutely. Thank all of you, and thank you too, Lester, for your leadership with everything that's happened this last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, that was quick and easy.
I'll
This
take
is-
up that extra time.
Okay, good. That's what I was thinking you probably would.
So at the beginning of all of this, I explained the original first 2 bullets. The next one is, these are some of the changes that we've already seen since we first started this. We're at 76,473. The 2% revenues is part of that also, so we've gone up in our revenues. But now, instead of 3.2, I'm asking a little bit more from the carryover. This will be further explained on Wednesday, so don't go too in-depth on those requirements. Capital expenditures, understand that budget change there too. We've already paid 5.9 out of the DDI, and we've adjusted some bond money stuff that we've already just put in. So that money is now out of this next year's budget. It's in the current year. So those changes are already in there. And then we've had several conversations on this. Bottom line is, we're gonna have a level funding on this.
And they've agreed to that?
they don't have much of a choice.
I was gonna say, they don't really get to.
They did complain a little bit, but they've said we're gonna keep the exact same routes and everything. They were trying to move us to a microtransit format in the west and cut out the loop that they had briefed us that they would move to outside of our city. And now they left it back in there, so we pay for that full loop, and that savings is no longer there. When you deal with somebody else operational who has the authority to change the operations and then keep the same level of payment, that we can't really influence it that well. We tried, we had multiple conversations, and hopefully they learned a little bit of a lesson in communication, because they had opportunities to communicate these new concepts to us and didn't.
So that's the loop in Route 14?
Yes.
Yeah, and they did, the amount that they were proposing us to pay was higher than that.
545.
Yes, and so, yeah.
So I just told them that the finance committee had basically recommended that I go back and tell them that it's gonna be level funding. And they've said, okay, we'll just sustain the routes that we currently have. We won't make any changes, and we won't add microtransit.
I got a quick question about the level funding thing. So we funded this at 374 last year. They came to us and asked for a change. I don't recall what their reason or rationale was for a 32% increase from 374 to the 495. Does anybody recall?
I don't know.
Because to me, level funding is 374. It is not 495.
Well, and
Because
also, not only that, but I don't think we ever did, I don't think there's a budget amendment to reflect that additional
From
change.
374
There
to
was.
495.
There,
That's what I forwarded to you.
oh,
guys
is that,
from last week.
okay, okay.
Let me add, so what actually happened, and I believe, let's see, this is 25, 24, 24, 23, 23, 22. It appeared that what happened in the budget, there was one year back then, I believe it was 22, 23, they budgeted what was paid the prior year, okay? And then they come into the next year, which would have been, I think, 23, 24, and in the budget, the city budgeted what was budgeted the prior year. What is happening is, and when I reached out to Glenn Dickerson at the BJCTA, they are always somewhat late in getting the updated contract to municipalities, okay?
Yes.
So what happened is, the budget that y'all approved last year, October 3rd or whenever, you didn't receive the contract till in February. So right out of the gate, you were already off of your budget from, what was the number you said, like 375 to
374.
to 495. So there was a budget, there was a resolution that went forth in February. That was the conversation that Glenn and I had. It seems to me that just the mere fact that the council approved that contract, that the budget should have been amended. Does that make sense? So I think the other thing we have to work on is we've got to do a better job on our end, is having that communication that when budgets are amended, that they get reflected. But that's what happened, is they didn't budget the exact amount. And then when the contracts came in, they were actually authorized by council.
I feel like last year they came in and presented to us.
They did.
And it was, their verbiage, and we can probably go find it, was, it's level funding for this year. Because when I see a 32% increase from 374 to 545 with no additional services,
Yeah.
I'm not inclined to pay that increase.
Well, the 495
That you've
to
got services.
545 was explained as additional costs for
The
the
microtransit.
fuel, well, and the fuel and the manpower costs have gone up.
Well, I guess my question, and I don't know if this is the same question that you're having, is what I would love to know is, even what's the difference between the 374, because what did we get additionally?
Because we were already up 100K, sorry.
Right, yeah, no, you're 100%, I agree. So like, when we budgeted 374, my question is, what happened, what is the difference between that number and what are we getting additionally for the 495? Because
Nothing.
we're
Level-
not. So
The same level of
$120,000,
service, but no additional benefit. They're
except way more cost, $120,000 more in costs.
In concept, it's close to the 10%, that you would expect for heavy equipment. And so it's conceptually real close to where they probably would be going from 495 to 545.
And then I guess my secondary question is, what is our obligation to the BJCTA?
I haven't been able to find that out.
Mr. Mayor, do you have an answer for that
Yeah,
question?
well, I don't have an easy answer for that.
Okay.
Our obligation is that we have to contribute at the rate that is determined for every mile that they're, go through our city.
It's the time.
Or is it every hour? Every hour.
Okay.
That they're in our city, regardless whether anyone gets on or off the bus here, they can just be driving through. But what we have always talked about in the past with them is the overall number rather than the rate. In other words, we do the end of the math rather than the beginning.
Right.
And so that's where the flexibility comes in, and we have always been able to talk with them. Shouldn't say always. We have almost always been able to talk with them about, hey, the service is the same. We're not changing our number, or we got too much service. We got not enough. We want you to add this, take this out, whatever, and that changes the number because it changes the number of hours. The hours really are set, so it's really just a matter of what rate they're multiplying
Assigned
times
to
the
that.
hours to get to this number. But it's easier to talk about it with the aggregate number. No one here will be surprised that I think we pay the transit authority way too much money and far greater than the benefit we get out of it, which is not much. And so the only reason we are here is because statutorily we are required to do something. What we are required to do is up for debate.
Okay.
So what does that mean when we get the late contract? Is it gonna be even more?
Well, I believe this is the agreed upon one, because they came to me because I was going to them about what the rate is and doing the budget, la-da-da-da. They came out 545. The folks came back to me and said, no, we want to stay level, and level to them is 495 because they have an agreement signed from you all in February that said 495.
So we can budget whatever we want to budget and tell them whatever it is. And if we've got a contract battle, then we have a contract battle.
Well, and so here was this is my question, and I'm honestly not trying to cause it, but I'm very frustrated with this entire process because it is every year.
Every year.
So you were saying, we had talked about taking that Route 14 loop out, which
Makes
serves
sense.
nothing and serves no one in our city at all.
Doesn't
We're
benefit-
getting,
it
we're
does not provide
benefit,
Homewood any benefit at all.
and we're literally getting charged because they're driving in our city.
Correct.
We're getting charged for the time that they're in our city with absolutely no benefit to us. So my question is, why don't we say, we don't want that loop anyway? So just, boom, take that right on out and get the money down to whatever it would be without that loop.
So we're talking sort of about two different things. I don't disagree with what you're saying. Y'all can budget whatever you want to budget.
Right.
And then
They
Lynn
have to
is
figure
going
it
to
out.
go talk to them about how they figure out and what their response is to that number.
Right.
But what y'all are doing is providing Glenn the ammunition to go and say, this is all the council has said.
Yeah.
We've got to figure this out.
You're giving me the authority. That's
Because
what
I
you're
will
doing.
say this, when we said level funding, we didn't mean 495.
374.
We meant 374, which is the number that is in our budget from last year.
And if I remember correctly, in 22, 23, we were at like 287, does that sound right?
That somewhere in the
Somewhere around there.
200s.
Yeah, the upper twos.
Yeah.
We went to the upper threes or mid to upper threes as a result of the Magic City Connector, I
That's
believe,
correct.
Yes,
and
yeah.
some other route
Or that's my memory.
additions, yeah.
As well.
So I see the Magic City Connector flow through here empty all the time, so they can cut that too.
I have heard, I was in the city in a meeting with Birmingham the other day, that the Magic City Connector's going away. Does anyone know anything about that?
There was an email discussion on that, but I don't think it's actually for the next year that's
Yeah,
going to happen.
let me put it this way, if it goes away, then that number has to come down.
I was about to say, but they won't tell us, and they'll keep it
I
running.
think what you're giving me is the authority to tell them I don't want Route 14.
I think what we should say is whatever number people feel comfortable with, and saying, we know that the council did not have the same idea of level funding as y'all had for level funding. And they don't feel comfortable with $495 because we're simply not getting the return on investment, that we're not getting the return from the money that we're putting in. We're essentially subsidizing something that is not very useful to people who live here. The majority of people who live here.
Are we saying they owe us then
No,
100,000?
no, they don't owe us anything.
We're talking about just moving forward.
Yes, we're talking about moving
No,
forward.
we're
No.
talking about if we paid them $495, we're supposed to pay them $374.
Well, I mean, we did sign the contract, and that's all fine and good. But I think that we need to come up with a number that we're comfortable with, that still allows us to have service in our city, but also doesn't put us at a, I mean, it's, because this number goes up every single year and nothing changes. The ridership doesn't change. The routes don't change. There's no additional services provided to us. We just keep paying money.
And understand, I'm saying the same thing you are, I'm just saying it in a slightly different way. It's a contract. There are two parties that have different views that are gonna come to some agreement, right? So what you're doing is you're saying, this is what we say we are comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that's what gives Glenn the authority to go back to them and say, this is what the council said, this is what they're comfortable with. The transit authority may not like that. They may say, we're not willing to do that, we're willing to do something else. And fine, you have that discussion whenever you have that discussion. But what I would say is get to a number that you're comfortable with. If that's the 370 whatever, then that's what it is. And then let Glenn go talk to them and see what happens.
Yes.
But I would be hesitant to do 495 and go see what happens.
No,
If you catch my
I am
drift.
not willing to do that.
I mean, how did the contract not get read in February?
Well, I mean, listen, again, I say, everything about this process
So
is terrible.
I'll suggest something that I think might have happened with the contract. Given everything that has gone on, or was going on around that time, I'm not sure, it wouldn't surprise me if the contract came in at a different number.
February of this past, of 2025.
25.
Yes.
It would not surprise me if that contract came in and the number was different because it's broken up into two numbers and it was just missed.
I think that's exactly what happened.
And so but it was signed.
Yeah, it was.
I don't see anything in my email about it in February or even before that.
I'm really hesitant to go over 375, but I wouldn't be.
Again, I think you gotta decide
Right.
what we're doing moving forward.
Right. No, we have to decide. No, we have to decide on the number that we feel
10%
comfortable going back to them.
for the costs.
We're
I
not going
I
above
agree.
374.
I agree.
We're not saying we're gonna
375.
increase the cost, they can figure it out.
I agree.
So.
Okay. I was gonna be generous and say 400.
374, well, we budgeted 374 last year.
Yeah.
Which adds to the other question, in the budget sitting before us, on page 7, we've got $498,000 in the general fund, and we've got $184,000 in debt services for a total of $682. Is that just accounting?
No, there was,
Needs to
last
be
year,
corrected.
we did not pay 2 quarters, so we had to pay 2 quarters.
So this past year that we're currently in, you had to pay the 24-25 contract, and then there was also 2 payments from the prior year that had never been paid.
In 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I need to see, can we see,
I remember that.
what I would love to do, I would love to see all of the invoices from 2023 on from BJCTA. I wanna see every single invoice that we have received from them.
Oh.
And, yes,
Very last.
yeah, no, I wanna see every receipt, because
I still don't.
this just seems,
I agree. We need to go through that
but
tonight.
we need a picture.
Focus on
The number.
focus on the number, and
So
we're at
getting
20
that to
till.
a finance committee referral thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Send that to finance committee to
Okay,
deal with.
fantastic.
But go ahead and
Okay.
figure out the number for the budget.
All right, I hear 375 from
I'm not on the
Andrews.
committee, so
I-
I don't.
I
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that was what we paid last year.
There's still.
I think it was 374, like 332 or something. There was some additional, like, tiny little
was.
amount.
That's total funding, though.
I'm trying to round up. Andy.
If their services were phenomenal and, loved about the community, I would say that would be a discussion point.
Really, it's just something we're being forced to pay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
whatever number you want, 375
Well,
or 374, 332. I prefer the specific,
You
374,
like the-
332.
Okay.
I think it sounds better.
Okay, I need a motion to amend the recommended.
You don't need a motion of anything, 375 is mine, I have to go back and bring the
Okay.
report back to you.
Okay,
Well, I'd like to make a motion just to make it, like, this is what you're getting, this is where we're gonna put the budget.
I mean,
So I'd make a motion to adjust the Jefferson County Transit Authority line items in the general fund and the debt service in our budget to a total sum of 374, 332.
Second.
all right, I have a motion for Mr. Gwaltney to put the BJCTA funding at 374, 332, which was the number in our budget from last year, and I have a second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. That is 4-0.
So, Mr. Adams, the direction I think to the BJCTA is, this is what you have to operate within, so figure it out.
And we're.
Because we're not negotiating it up, right? They are not, it's just, we go through this bull explicative every year. And I'm not gonna be here to deal with it next year, but I don't wanna saddle this next council with it because it's the biggest boondoggle we deal with.
This process is easy, so when it comes to the council next week, it's gonna be said, and I will be able to inform them that this is the decision the council's likely to make, so you.
Not likely to make, gonna make.
We just amended it in the budget, so. I wanted to give you the exclamation point.
I
Yeah.
told
To
you
go with
I'd
you.
take the extra time, and I didn't lie. Can I go to the next slide? Okay, in some of the preliminary, you probably have heard me talk about purchasing agent. I believe in purchasing agents. If they're used correctly, they pay for themselves. They find efficiencies across both going out for open bid on things and the ability to purchase routine things at a better price. So I believe in them. I think it makes sense. The only thing I don't have, as I brief you, is the exact location where we put them, because you want to be able to have equipment come and go very easily, and that's not City Hall. But the position would work for the finance director.
Okay. Okay, so they would be in the finance department, but it's in your budget.
Correct. Because these are things that some of you may remember I actually brought up in my actual interview. And so I think this is things that I specifically wanted for different things, and that's one of the things that I brought up to the council early on.
All right.
Communications director, we're well on the process on this. So the bottom line here is I want to be clear on what I believe is needed. A city this size should have somebody communicating with the citizens on a regular basis, not just in a part-time mode. Being able to give good examples, whether it's a flyover through the parks or anything that's going on, being able to show all the good things that are going on in this community on a regular basis, but also be there for any one of the directors who are able to provide insights into things that are going on that might be a hot topic. And being able to have that. The most important thing to me is I talked to you all about a comprehensive plan. That comprehensive plan needs extensive communication, because without public involvement, a comprehensive plan isn't what the paper is written on. And so you need to have as many people involved in the community and the different wards and having the conversations and being able to understand what it means to have a comprehensive plan, because a well-done one focuses our budgets in the future to support achieving the mission and vision that has been described of 25 years away from now. So that's really why I need a communications director to be able to get out there and get people involved in understanding what's going on in the community and get them excited about being involved with creating a comprehensive plan. Because this is their ability to have a future that they are describing, not necessarily any of us individually. And then in this case, the Personnel Board has already put together a bid. We had over 100 applicants, and that's good news in my opinion. That's phenomenal. So I'm excited about this, but these are some of the things that we are already talking about that was required. I had removed the HR director, but under advice, I re-added the HR director in the budget. It definitely can be afforded for both of the positions. The HR director would be hired first, and then the HR director would hire an analyst to support. These two positions would be, quite honestly, solving a lot of equations we have in hiring and assisting directors and hiring the people that they need to. They'll be able to assist in the resume review criteria, in the development of the interviews for the candidates, screening of the candidates, background, all of those things, plus the normal HR stuff, which could be things like the work environment, et cetera, that they need to deal with. And it sets the conditions that employees have the ability to come in and have resolution with their supervisors without having to go to the chain of command in a normal way. Is there any questions on this slide?
Yay.
I was about to say, because
Thank you.
one of the things that I know Jennifer wants to do is take her newsletter citywide, which obviously having a communications director would be
Right.
integral in getting that done too. Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
And HR is super important, and that's something,
Yeah. Yeah, well, we discussed that even in my interviews, how important it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
So-
Sure.
And when I went around to all the directors, that's one of the hot topics they all had, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So this is this is my requested items, but it's really reflecting a lot of your guys' opinions too. So right now, I'm requesting $125,000 for a year-long centennial celebration. It's not just to fund individual things, but from the suggestions is to add additional money to make certain events more special and advertise it as a centennial event. Possibly, depending on whatever committee is assembled to do the centennial celebration, have funds to support that specific celebration. $100K for the comprehensive plan. RPC is donating 80% of that, which is good news. And a lot of people are going, wow, that's a lot of money. $500,000, but featuring, we really honestly don't have a current comprehensive plan, so it's over 2 decades in the making. There's a lot more work when there's not currently an approved comprehensive plan than there is adjusting one that exists. So this is a lot more engagement with the citizens that we're paying for. And in the end, it's going to help us create that vision of what the community is, and it shapes our budget from here on in. And that's why it's very important. Placer AI. So there was a lot of advice given to me by different city managers I've had in our local Vestavia Hills. They use Placer AI. And so I reached out and talked to a couple different data management companies, and Placer AI came out as probably the best I'd seen. It's better than the stuff that I was familiar with in Texas. What I would tell you that it does is, how many people understand the concept of citizen leakage? So where do our citizens go to shop when they leave the city? And try to be able to have those discussions of bringing things to the city that meets the demands of our citizens. So when we think about being able to provide incentives, this gives prioritization for incentives. So you have two things. You have a comprehensive plan that can provide incentives based off of what people say, and then you have this validating those things that are in there. The other part of this is beautiful, is they've agreed to allow me to give the Chamber of Commerce access to it too, because I'm really using the Chamber of Commerce much like our community development director, which we don't actually have. And what that person does is looks at the needs of the community and is able to advise. And as the chamber, they're talking to businesses and be able to say, you know, here's the existing businesses, and everybody knows it's easier to grow an existing business than it is to get one from the ground up to start. So talking to them about what things they could be short and they can adapt their business to get more revenues for themselves.
And it also tracks like people coming into the city. So it can tell you where people are coming from and where they're
Exactly.
going, and like how many people are going to Central Park to the playground,
And where they
all those
go
things.
after they go to the playground,
Sure.
and then what stores, what restaurants, everything like that. So it's a really good asset, and by giving it to the chamber, they're able to have that interaction with the businesses and kind of keep us separate from having to do that. But the big thing is us learning how to do it, so when we interact on development of the comprehensive plan, we can validate the concepts that the citizens are saying with the data.
I will tell you, we use that. We've changed to another one, but I don't know what it does today, but it wouldn't tell you anything less than a 5,000 square foot tenant or building.
No, this is really good. I saw
Yeah, I
the
mean, it's the same thing. I promise you, it's Placer AI. Now, maybe they've changed.
I think
but
they have, 'cause Mountain
couple
Brook
years
uses it
ago,
too now.
You couldn't get anything less than a 5,000 square foot building that they would.
So Jeff Downs has given me amazing insights, but he's officially a super user on that, so he's,
It takes some work to figure it
yeah.
out.
One of the things that I discussed also is, this is an arbitrary amount, I didn't have a number, but $150,000 for discretionary fund. And the best way that I was able to describe this to you all up front is when I put the latrines out at the trailhead and bridging the gap on that. This is really speeding up the concept. So I have a majority of people who want something. I can put things into play in a very quick way, not have to worry about where I get the money from, but I can actually solve problems. Some of the things that I can solve problems is finding a manhole cover that may be not in the budget that we have to fix. I can allocate the money to Berkeley and they can get that done immediately. It's routine costs, and that anything that's up in that would go into the consent agenda, and you'll know what I spent the money on. I work for you. If you don't like what I'm doing, then you can tell me that and advise me that, hey, this is not stuff we want to see. It's really the flexibility of the account. It's not more than that. So it's 150. It's not like I'm going to go out there trying to look for things. But remember, one of the things that I did talk about is, just like I tinted some of the windows on the second and fourth floors, that's really working out in energy savings. I'd probably look at doing some more tinting and maybe looking at other areas like the rec center and stuff like that to find efficiencies and be able to lower our energy costs. And that's one of the places that I would use it.
Excuse me. So, is there currently a discretionary fund at the mayor and staff?
10,000.
Yeah, the
Just
mayor has a
10,000?
the mayor has
So
a
things like what you just mentioned, you don't think there would be a need to budget for that, as opposed to just come out, the tinting of windows and environmental related issues?
It's just the concepts of being able to solve things at my level very quickly. You know,
That's a good little bit chunk of change, but, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, once the newly elected council's in and has the ability to sit down and go, here's our expectations of you over the next year. So basically, it's an executive session that tells me the things they want me to achieve, and outlining what's excellence and what's success. I will know what I need to achieve during that time frame. I may not need that money, but the key is I have the availability and I work for the council, and that gives me the freedom to do that. ABS Pure Water, I almost want to say this started out as a really good thing for the fire department and everybody fell in love with it. It's an ability to have good, clean water that is not only filtered, but proper organics put back into it so it tastes good and it's good for you. It's like having the bottled, smart water with you, but without having to pay for all the bottling and all that other stuff. Right. They maintain the entire system, and this would provide every one of the directorates access to filtered water and eliminate the need for plastic bottles all the time. They can go ahead and refill their own bottles, and like me, I've got one that's double insulated, and I can use that. So that's just the concept of what this is, and it's
Where would that be put?
throughout the city, much like they're a little bit different systems than like what my water bottle system is in my office, but they're self-contained systems. They plug into the water supply, and they have all the reverse osmosis and systems in place, and their filters and everything are switched out on a regular basis.
Is this what the fire department already has?
Yes, the fire department has some. This gives access to everybody else.
Got it.
It was so fancy for the firemen that everybody else decided they needed it too.
The truth of the matter is, and in the discussion I had is it makes sense, and I'm not trying to share it, but you guys may see in my office I have a bottled water situation. I'm one of those people, I can't have hard waters. I donated a kidney. Any kind of problems that I have could be threatening for me. Kidney stones is not good if you donated a kidney. So I pay to have it, and all this does is let me go to the water fountain that you're already providing, and 2 of them would go right out here and replace these 2 systems out there.
Maybe we can look next year for making us all bring our own water bottles.
Well, that's
Yeah, that's part of it.
that's the
Okay.
plan,
Okay.
is we're gonna get away from bottled water,
Right.
have an urn,
We have something
then we
like
fill up, and
Right,
then
we just bring our own.
they bring their own.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yeah, and that's really the concept, and that's, you'll see some people, the chief brings down a great big jug of water to every one of our directors' meetings, and everybody devours it. And so it's not enough.
Better
but-
taste.
So those are it, and I don't think there's any other items that I have. In setting the conditions for Wednesday, I'm gonna be sending out a document that has all sorts of information. Most everything has been covered, but this is the current updated version of everything. You'll get the budgets, et cetera. My intent is to reprint the budgets that you've got. I was not gonna print everything else that I gave, I'm just gonna reprint the physical budgets that I gave you all. So you have all of the changes as it's been put in, and you'll be able to move out from there. So are there any questions of me before I'm sorry, I did take all the rest of the time.
No, that's okay. That's what
Very
we're
good.
here
Thank
for. And so like Glenn said, on Wednesday evening, starting at 5, we will go over those, and a lot of those items we have already discussed in the general budget. We'll discuss some of those allocations that we make to outside organizations. We'll cover that, and a few other things in the general budget that haven't been covered so far. But a lot of the things that we'll talk about Wednesday have already been discussed about, what's been coming out of the 7-cent gas tax, the 4 and 5 cent gas tax. But we'll get an update on those smaller funds, the general fund, and then we'll talk about employee funding matters. And then hopefully that will be our last budget hearing. I can't guarantee that, because if we have any kind of last, shoelaces to tie up at the end, we may have to meet on the Monday before budget approval at that meeting on September the 29th. So that's a possibility, but hopefully we'll be able to knock everything out on Wednesday and be done with it. But thank you to all of y'all for your budget presentations. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to our meeting on Wednesday.